creating conversations so that you'll create conversations. Arrow.net, ARROE.net. All right, let's do it. Let's play it forward. These are real people, real stories, the struggle to play it forward. Episode number 490 is with Char Margolis, the author of You Are a Psychic.
I'm great. So nice to meet you, Arrow. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic. I'm sitting right in the middle of a beautiful forest here in North Carolina, and that's what I love about modern day technology is that we can be anywhere we want to be, and it's just like what you're putting in your book. You are a psychic. Bring your energy forward.
I believe everyone is intuitive. Everybody is guided. And the future changes at any moment, at any second, because of someone else's choice or decision. So we need to be in sync with our thoughts. And I always say when you use logic, common sense, and intuition, you get your best answers and you know how to figure out what path to take.
One of the things that hit me while daily writing this morning was, and I've never spoken this before, but maybe you can get me in on it, and maybe psychologically you were talking to me, and that is the factor of awareness. Is that not a one of the things that you talk about?
Yes, it's so important to be aware of what's going on. I mean, also our loved ones who have crossed over to the other side come and visit us, and they come with symbols and in other ways. Like some people are thinking of their loved one, their mother, their father, their child, their sibling, and they think, I wonder what their symbol is, and all of a sudden a bunch of butterflies come around, or dragonflies,
Yep.
or ladybugs or something. And so there's a communication we have with our guardian angels and spirit guides. We just need to learn to create that language and understand it. And it's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger you get.
You're so spot on, and listeners need to understand how true you really are about that, because at 7:30 this morning while we were going through the forest, it's when my brother wants to speak with me, he uses feathers. And sure enough, there was a blue jay feather on the ground. And I just sit there and go, thank you, Teddy. Thank you for being here with us.
Oh, how beautiful. And I love that you're so open.
Oh, I think you would be bored with me. I mean, sitting here, because I am so open, and that's one of the questions I wanted to ask you is because I am so open, a lot of people feel like that they don't want to be near me.
Well, then they're losing out, aren't they? You're fun. You're fun, and you're probably an old soul, and you understand. You know, we live in a physical world and we live in an energetic world. What people need to understand is that there's positive and negative energy in both. And whenever I do a reading for someone, I always say a prayer of protection to make sure that they understand that any other energies can come in that may not be welcome. But it's really important to know that to pray.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what religion you are, or if you're just spiritual. Positive thoughts attract positive thoughts. Negative attracts negative. So when we keep positive around us, it keeps us on a higher vibration.
Do you think that the average person has their own definition of what psychic energy is, and that if they step into your book, You Are Psychic, they're going to get a really well-rounded history as well as story of the truer understanding, so that they can start, having accountability as well as, and making themselves available to other people?
Right. A lot of people who have already read my book tell me that so many things are familiar to them, but they never could point out or explain exactly what it is. So I already, I already point out to you what you already have. It's like that time you wanted something. Maybe it was a romance, maybe it was a business deal, maybe it was a friendship. This little gut feeling said, don't do it, but you started talking to them, and there was, you got along, and so you went and you pursued it, and time proved that you suffered the consequences. Or maybe you did listen and you prevented a problem and dodged a big bullet.
Do you believe in the theory that we've lived this life before, in the way that all of a sudden you stop yourself from making a mistake? I looked at a coworker the other day and I said, you know why you stopped, right? And he goes, no, why? Because you've been here before and you made the mistake the last time.
Oh yeah, so you're very deep. You're good.
I'm sick.
No, you're not sick. Life is a school and we're here to learn lessons. And it's real. We create most of our destiny by the choices we make. And that's how we accrue our karma, because we want to elevate our souls so we can end up at the right hand of God or our divine maker or whatever you want to call that power that is much bigger than we are.
Yeah. 7 steps to discover your own psychic abilities. I mean, that with you holding all of that energy, is it a gift from you to us in the way that, I mean, you're relinquishing what you know?
Right. I've only been practicing for 50 years to do this. 50. So I've learned a lot. I'm still learning. I will always be learning, because there's never enough that, if you find someone who thinks they know it all, run away. So it's important for all of us to understand energy, that we connect with the energy that is around us and in us. And then I tell people to let go of that which is no longer serves you. And so if you need to forgive someone, forgive them. Forgive yourself. Move on. Yeah. And miracles happen every day.
You're so right about that. But people, they're expecting, biblical miracles, or they're expecting something that is huge, like winning the lottery and stuff like that. But you're absolutely right that, a miracle doesn't have to be a moving moment.
No, a miracle is you finding a blue feather this morning. You happened to come across and said, "Hi, Teddy, your brother." And so that's a miracle. And they happen all the time. I read for someone on TikTok, and the husband was a skeptic. And I said, "Well, your loved one," I can't remember the name, I said, "comes as a dragonfly." And the wife sent me videos of a dragonfly stuck in the car with him, and the windows were closed, and he was freaking out after that. And something else happened with it. I have a podcast called Char Vision that people can tune into on Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern time, where I do readings for people. And if they go to char.net, char.net, they can come in and I'll read for people. I do it all the time. The other thing I was thinking of are dreams. Sometimes we're so busy in our everyday life that our loved ones can't get to us, and we're not aware until we're sleeping. And right. That's when they come to us in dreams, and they can be very real. Has your brother come to you in a dream?
He's with me at all times. Yeah, he's absolutely been with him, because everything that he loved in life appears in a lot of my dreams, and I always take that as being his place inside my heart at all times. In fact, inside my home studio and stuff like that, I've got his ashes with me. I've got things that he wore and things like that. He's definitely with me.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. And does he work with the electrical things that make the lights go on and off, or music come on, or?
That's something for me to become aware about, because it's because I'm so in tune with what he loved in life that when I see things like that, I just know he's present. And so, but I'll definitely look at because I got to tell you, I sit there and I'll tell my wife, there's a ghost in this house, and you're absolutely right. That really could be him just visiting. And so I'll sit there and I'll say, okay, well, whoever is here, you can stay, but the rule is there will be no damage. You cannot bring any darkness.
What's great about you is that you're so open. There are some people who live in fear. And when people live in fear, they're never going to know when their intuition is kicking in, because they're not going to be tipped off. They're going to be scared their whole life. But the opposite of fear is love and faith. When you have love and faith, which you do, you will be tipped off all the time. The universe always tips us off to prevent problems and attain goals.
But Char, that love and faith that you speak of, that's 28 years of daily writing. I write in the morning, I write all day. That's being in tune with the energy and the universe around me. And like you said, you have busted tail to get where you are. It is not an easy job.
No, it's an uphill climb. You know why? Because there's positive and negative energies in the spirit world, and that's why I encourage everyone to put themselves in the white light of protection, and then I guide people to go into an egg and close it up, and the shell of the egg is a mirror. So anything dark or negative coming at them will go back to where it came from. because that's why I say a prayer of protection before I do this. People need to understand that, Gandhi did not go to when Gandhi crossed over, he didn't go to the same place as Hitler went to.
Right.
Or, and also, Mother Teresa went to a good place, I'm sure. So it's really a journey that we all take, this school of life that takes us to hopefully a higher level where we end up at the right hand of God.
Isn't that what Hinduism is? I mean, because so I have a lot of Hindu friends, and they talk about their families are at different levels and things like that.
Yeah, I call it different neighborhoods.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I truly believe some people are looking up at us.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is your psychic tuning fork? I know that what I need to listen to when I need to focus in, and what I listen to is no digital devices, nothing on. I've got to be in the presence of silence so I can tune myself in.
Mm-hmm. Well, that makes good sense. I like to be in nature. I like to have quiet around me as well. But I also have, read for people in audiences on Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz and the Today Show and, and Kelly and Ryan. I mean, I predicted Kelly Ripa's pregnancy when she was auditioning for the show, and her bosses didn't even know, and it was live with Regis. And she always tells me that she thinks it's because of me that she got the job. So when I tune in, I just go to a different place in my head, and I let my mind go blank, and I am a conduit. So I allow the spirits to come in. It's like her grandmother, I said, there's an E, and she goes, yes. I said, it's Esther. She goes, yes. And I said, there's a D initial. She said, and it turned out her grandmother's name was Esther, holding a baby. And I said, well, I know you just had a baby, but are you pregnant? And she goes, oh my God, my bosses don't even know. But then the next time I did the show, she came up to me and she said, you kept saying the word D. Well, her nickname was D. And I said, well, there you go. Your grandma was, adamant about getting through to you to let you know that she's, looking over you guys.
I love that you're so open. That's the thing about it as well. I mean, and it really does take an openness that a lot of people do not understand. How were you able to explain this to your parents, knowing that you were going to change people's lives on the other side, just like Kelly?
Well, the blessing that I have, and my parents were, when I was 4 years old, my dad took me to the grocery store, and I said, Daddy, that lady cheated us. And my mom looked at the bill, and lo and behold, they overcharged us. And then but they listened to me. And then 2 weeks later, Mom took me to lunch, and the woman brought the bill. And I said, Mommy, I think that lady cheated us. And she looked at the bill, and she overcharged us 10 cents. Well, 10 cents a long time ago was, like $1.
It was.
So they never said stop making up stories, stop lying. And I saw a spirit at the foot of my bed when I was 8 years old, and our house had been broken into 2 weeks before that. And I had it all figured out that the people who broke into our house were living in the crawl space attic in my bedroom. And when I woke up, there was a spirit in rags, and I could see through him. And he had a pouch, and he put his hand in the pouch and sprinkled all these gold lights on me. As they landed on me, they evaporated. And I went the next morning, I said, Mommy, the burglars were here again tonight. And without skipping a beat, my mother said, oh no, honey, that's just the Sandman. What? And there was an old song called Mr. Sandman. And so I went, oh, I guess there's a song about it, so there must be a Sandman.
Oh my God! This is showing you how much of a freak I am. I wanted to sit in the same closet where my wife's mother was murdered, and I wrote, and I just, because I wanted to listen. I felt like that her spirit was there, and I invited her home. It was time to get her out of that closet and to come home.
That's profound. Wow.
And
that's profound.
But because I don't have a fear of transitioning, and I think you understand what I mean by that. I don't want to say the D word. I just don't have a fear of the transition.
Yeah, well, it's not goodbye. It's see you later.
Yeah, so true.
Right?
So when you put a book like You Are Psychic together, how, because I'm a writer and I know the energy that goes into the pages, you have to be seeing the people that you're going to be reaching. And I always leave little notes, dear future reader.
Oh, that's really great. You know what? I just as when I do my readings, it's downloaded into me, the information,
Yep.
and I just wrote on the page, to tell you the truth, I think this is like my 6th book, and it's the first, well, actually the second one I wrote by myself, but the other one was just, quotes. But this is really the first long book I wrote by myself without a ghostwriter.
Wow. You
So
brought...
it was crazy.
You brought up something I have heard now. This is like in less than a week. I've heard downloading because Tamus Stedman, he creates guitars because he believes the universe is speaking to him. All he talked about during that conversation was things are being downloaded. Now you're bringing up downloaded. I'm going to have to incorporate this into my life now because I've heard it twice.
Well, then there's a reason why you're being, given that information so you can have the wisdom downloaded into you. And I have to go back to this thing about you and your helping your mother-in-law
Yep.
who was murdered, because you probably saved her and released her from being in that dark negative energy, and so she could be free in the spirit world in a higher place, because I can't imagine having a tragedy like that. Oh my.
Well, my wife is sitting right here with me, and to hear you speak like this, you're right. It was one of those things where nobody that we knew lived in that house. We knocked on the door and asked to go sit in there.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Her mother was a beautiful writer. She wrote poetry and stuff like that. Well, all of a sudden at home, what did I do? I started writing.
Wow.
But see, you get it. Where if I were sitting here with any coworkers in radio, they'd go, "Oh my God, you're such a freak. Get away."
Well, that's because they're too much of the material world.
Right.
When we cross over, it doesn't matter how rich we are, how famous we are, how good we look. It's about our deeds. And you're not only trying to bring wisdom to the people on the earth, you're helping the spirits.
Oh.
You're helping, imagine being a spirit and trying to communicate and nobody's listening.
Yeah.
That would have to be extremely frustrating. That's why I like doing what I do, because I help translate the information to those people who are living. And it's got to be a relief for those spirits, because they are elevating their souls as well.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times a spirit will come in to apologize to the living person for not being there for them, or for being, mean or abusive.
Yeah, wow. Char, you got to come back to this show anytime in the future. And listeners need to find your podcast. They need to get this book. There's everything. You're such a giving, loving, compassionate person.
Oh, you're so kind. It's been my honor and my pleasure. You're so special. You're spoiling me. I'm on a radio tour, and I can't imagine anybody being as tuned in as you are for the rest of the morning.
Well, you're a beautiful way to start the morning. Thank you so much for your time today.
God bless you. Be well.